I'm bringing you one more thing. Yep, sorry. This is my, that's what I plan to say. And then the questions for the mayor when he, speaking, he always goes to the answers questions. There's my question. Thank you.
Trying to invite them to be responsible. Accept the I think you're requesting to join. But you trying your best.
La mandamos al hospital a la casa y ya está ahí. La semana que entra voy a ver. Bien, el hospital para él, ¿verdad? Y que no
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
New Year.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Sunland Park City Council. Today is January 7th, 2026. It is 6:23 p.m. This session is now in order. Before I proceed, Chief, nobody outside, right? Come on, check. But I know if there's any other people who do show up to the space, we have an overflow room in the library, so that you can hear the meeting, for today. From here, we'll go to the roll call. If I can have the roll call, please.
Councilor Armando Mata.
Aye.
Councilor Alberto Jaramillo. Councilor Roberta Salmon.
Aye.
Councilor Raúl Telles.
Present.
Councilor María Burciaga.
Present.
Councilor Miguel Sandoval.
Present.
We have a quorum.
You can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilor Butler. At this time, if there's any item of the agenda which a member of the council or the staff has a conflict of interest, you have the opportunity to express it. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. I do have a request from staff to remove item 11. Any objection by the council to remove item 11? Hearing no objection, the item is removed. We'll move, I'm requesting, I know a lot of the people here are here for item number 8. So I'm gonna ask the council to move item 8 to after presentations, so 8 to after 1. Any objection to that, please? Yeah. Seeing no change, or no objection, we'll move item 8 to after 1. Item number 9 is not a public hearing. That one should go under new business, and ordinances. At this, any objection to moving item 9 to under new business? Hearing no objection, item 9 will be under new business. And I believe those are all the changes. At this moment, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda order as amended.
Motion to approve as amended.
I have a motion on the floor made by Councilor Fayez to approve the agenda order as amended. Is there a second? The motion has been seconded by Councilor Sunland. Further discussion by the council? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. The agenda order has been set. I do want to welcome Councilor Fayez, representing District 6, newly elected, Councilor Salmon, newly elected, representing District 3, Councilor Mata, representing District 2. So welcome aboard. Your first meeting. It's an intense meeting. Look at it. All right, welcome aboard here. From here, we're going to go to public comment. There's 30 minutes available. 3-minute rule apply per speaker. I do have Rebecca Brito.
Buenas noches, gracias, Danas. Para darle la bienvenida a los nuevos miembros del concilio, señor Telles, señora Salmón, el señor Mata. Espero que vengan con una mente abierta y entiendan que vienen a representar a la ciudad y no beneficios personales. Les pido que dejen su orgullo personal en casa y vengan a representarnos, a nosotros los ciudadanos de aquí de Sunland, de los diferentes distritos, cada quien en su respectivo distrito. Felicidades, a los nuevos, ¿verdad?, que están aquí. Y bueno, y les repito, no se les olvide que están aquí para la comunidad, no para beneficio personal de ustedes. Gracias.
That reminds me, we do have translation services from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, if you're interested in translation services. Okay, back there. Oh, there.
I don't need to say it in English, do I? I don't need to say it in English.
Anybody who did not sign up and wish to address the council at this time? Now, if you're here for item 8, there is a public hearing specifically for that. Okay?
I'd like to address.
Tonight or like different time?
No, right, like, once we get to that agenda.
Here, Mola Camilo Real Media. I just want to join this free talk. We can do it in Spanish, in English, and now the announcement that this interpretation should be made in Spanish. So they understand it, not to tell them in English if you don't understand. It's just a observation. I also wish to welcome the new members and Ms. Burciaga, who's sitting there. I'm sorry, Mr. Jaramillo and Millie are not here, but
Millie's online.
okay, hola, Millie. Okay, just greetings and best
Hola, Mr.
wishes.
Mola, buenas tardes.
Hola. So, and also welcome, I know you're gonna recognize it probably, but also give a heartfelt welcome to Commissioner Gamero, who's present here. And to the officers that kindly accompanied me last time, okay, to the Lord. So this time there won't be any problem, it's raining outside, I wanna go home early, okay? And this is inspiring. Okay, we have a very high quality new council, very well versed in what you have to decide. And I simply wish you the best in the name of the personal name and the paper that I distribute here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, just wanted to just point out that Councilor Jaramillo is still having difficulty joining.
You don't like that.
Oh, he is, Councilor Jaramillo?
Está muy malo el internet.
Still having difficulty.
Más bien. Sí, es online.
Estoy aquí presente.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else who did not sign up and wish to address the council at this time?
Mayor, we have someone online.
Okay.
Delby? Delby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Also, I also wanted to add, that I wouldn't like to have new development also back here. Um, there's a lot of animals that stop by in this house that we feed, all wild animals that may be gone with this new development. Um,
Now, if
and
you have
if,
comments on item eight, if you can save those comments for that item.
okay, yes, that's for that.
Okay, let's go and save those for item eight. Anybody else? All right. That concludes public comment. We're going to move to remarks made by the city council. I'll start the numerical order. Councilor Sandoval.
Not on my end, Mayor, at this time. Thank you.
Councilor Mata. Councilor Samuel. Councilor Jaramillo.
Solo quiero darle la bienvenida a los compañeros nuevos regidores. Esperamos que con sus expertise que tienen, con su labor que ellos conocen, que traigan que sean de ayuda para la ciudad. Muchas gracias.
Councilor Butcher. Councilor Davis.
Yes, sir. I want to say, Ms. Brito, Mr. Smola, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight. You can see there's items on the agenda that are very important. I was part of the council meetings in December where I've heard a lot of your concerns, legitimate concerns. I've heard concerns from the developers aspect as well. Well, not gonna touch too much on that one, but I've heard your concerns. Know that I'm gonna do my due diligence. Jumping into a position like this for my district has been a long time coming. It's been somewhat of I'll refer to it as a science experiment that took place. That experiment's gone. So District 6, you do have somebody that's gonna represent you accordingly. And I wanna say thank you to my wife. Soma, thank you for the entire support throughout the campaign. It was long, it was tedious. And with the county commissioner here in place, I also wanna say, I wanna continue to develop that relationship between the city and the county. It's been a broken relationship. And we just gotta come to the table, come to a board and find out, what's the best way forward. And we can't get into the ring and keep on fighting because nothing gets accomplished like that. But just know that there's gonna be mutual understandings. We're not gonna agree on everything, but we're gonna agree on things that are gonna be beneficial for the city of Sunland Park, for the county of Doña Ana, and for us as residents of the city. Thank you.
We're going to go on to presentations, and with that, it's Doña Ana County International Jetport Master Plan Update, and I want to recognize Mr. Jody Young and County Commissioner also, Meadows. I'm not sure if she's the one going to be presenting at all. Okay. But I do want to recognize her. Thanks for for being here and joining us as well.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. My name is Jody Young. I'm the interim airport manager at Doña County International Airport. I just we have just started our process, and as there's so much going on in this portion of the county, I felt it was important to come introduce myself and hopefully move ourselves forward with the relationship. So I won't take up too much of your time. I just want to discuss what our process is and the involvement that y'all are going to get to have along with us as we go through this. So am I going to do the slides or will somebody else do it for me?
I think they'll do it.
Okay. So we have in the aviation industry, the FAA mandates that we have an engineer of record. It's a engineer on contract that rotates every 4 years or so. So our current engineer is Bohannon Houston, and their aviation division. We've been working with them for quite some time, and they've subbed out to a sub-consultant, Wendy Rainier, who her entire consulting background is on airport planning and things like that. So she's the one that will help kind of lead us through our master plan as we move forward. And then we're represented at the state level with Jane Lucero. She's with the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division. And then the FAA, we have a project manager, which is Ms. Kim Harris. And then locally, to get us through this, I'm a staff of one right now, but in theory, the airport would have myself and an administrator, and then we have the maintenance person. So we're pretty small, so we lean on the aviation community and then our local partners to help us develop the planning and advisory committee. And there are members that are on that. And you guys do have a representative on there. Mr. Head is representing you guys at this time. Next slide, please. So the purpose is just to kind of talk about master plan. Everybody, we do these at every level, right? Every community has them, and it's important for the for airports to do the same thing. We'll talk about our current setting, types of aircraft that we have. We'll go through the different study issues and focus areas that we'll do, what the planning process is, and then kind of what's next for us as we go through. Next slide, please. Okay, the purpose of an airport master plan is to update the previous one. Our last one, the process started in about late 2016. It went through the 2017 area, and then it was published in early 2018. So we're about 7 years, really about 8 years removed from the good heart of the data, but about 7 years removed from the last publication. And we do this based on the changing aviation activity, the growing facility needs, the latest FAA design standards. I can give a little bit of an example of that here in a little bit. And then county and community input, and then socioeconomic growth and the different trends that are going on in the local area. Next slide. So currently, if you're not familiar with where we're located at, we're off the northwest corner there of Pete Domenici Highway, where it turns to the south, the head of the border. And we have an FAA identifier of EMA, the worldwide identifier. All of our airports are known with the kilo or K in front of it. Doña Ana County is in the FAA, in the airspace industry, it's called a sponsor. So the airport sponsor is Doña Ana County, whereas the Las Cruces Airport, that sponsor is and owner is the city of Las Cruces. Our tenants are at this time are private, and then we have commercial aeronautical businesses and government tenants. We're about 4 miles northwest of Santa Teresa, and you can see from Cruces there. We currently have 1,700 acres. That's about what our property that we lay on, and our elevation is 4,113 feet. So we're just up on top of the mesa, located just north of the industrial park. Next slide. We have a single runway. Recently went under a huge expansion based on the state, and a lot of good help from Mr. Grada to get us that money to help us grow our abilities to support the economic growth in this area of the county in southern New Mexico. So that one runway, it's always, for the longest time, it's been about 10,000 feet long, so just shy of 2 miles. We used to be 100 feet wide. We've now expanded to 150 feet. We have one parallel taxiway. That's the one that's the really dark line is the parallel taxiway. The runway's kind of a light gray there. We have large corporate hangars, conventional box hangars, and nested T hangars, which are similar to a storage unit that you might see. We have ramp and apron parking, and then we deal with fuel for both types of aviation engines, which is 100 low bed and then Jet A. And then if you're not familiar, you did not know, when you hear the National Weather Service El Paso, it's actually located at the airport. So that's where the National Weather Service, where all of our weather reports come from. Next slide, please. Just a quick overlook. I mean, a lot of that's kind of an eyesore, but for the public, like there's a lot to do there. We're excited. Hopefully you get more involved in the schools. That's a big priority of mine moving forward to get involved and get the youth. The aviation industry is hurting. Pilots, mechanics, engineers, the whole works of it. So the War Eagles Air Museum is they're a great connection right now for us to get into the schools and get children up there and do things. And then Red Arrow Flight Academy, they're skydiving. So lots of cool things up there if you make it that way. Next slide. We currently have 197 based aircraft. So of course there's transient people who travel just like any of us do. They go from airport to airport, but the folks they live there, that's their hangar, that's where their aircraft is based. Is 197, 142 single engine, 17 multi-engine, 25 jets, and 13 helicopters. Within the national airport system, we're a general aviation airport, as opposed to Las Cruces and El Paso, which are commercial or passenger traffic. We're just a general aviation. Where you can take a charter flight, your own plane. We currently this year we broke a record this year and just did just over 32,000 operations. That's the mixture of local traffic you can see there, and then itinerant, so traffic that comes, people transiting through. They want to stop here and get gas, or they have business in the area. And then air taxi, so we get a lot of medevac and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll have folks coming in that need to get to a trauma center here. They'll fly them in from Farmington or whatever and then transfer via ambulance to a hospital or something. And then we get a lot of military practice flights and stuff from Fort Bliss. The airport reference code, I'm going to address that in a little bit. It's a little bit easier when we have pictures, so I'll get to that in a different slide. Next slide. So we were originally designed for a C2. The money that we got from the state helped us expand in order to be able to reach out for cargo operations, right? I mean, it's just like any other business. You don't want to necessarily compete. So we have plenty that offer passenger traffic doesn't benefit the system if we were to say try to get commercial airlines here. But cargo, with the amount of stuff that flows through this Borderplex region, we are a very viable option for that, and hopefully that's what our goal would be. So we were designed for light business jets, and then when we strengthened our runway, we could now hold that category C4 or D4, a 757, so slightly larger. Your typical Southwest Airlines, they all fly 737s. We're able to handle now an aircraft just slightly larger than that. Next slide. So what is our master plan? What are we going to focus on? We're going to look to identify the aviation and socioeconomic changes, including emerging trends since the last time. We're going to look at what our needs are. A big one for us that comes up every year is a crosswind runway. So it's not so much consistent, but man, those spring winds really put a damper on our ability to fly different aircraft that come out of the Southwest there. So it's a huge need for us to maintain those operations, especially to look forward to cargo operations. And taxiway system expansion, as you grow and you want to develop, just like in the community developing roads or anything else, we need to do the same thing. Terminal building, we're working on that. Additional, right now, a fixed base operator is somebody who provides fueling services. We only have one of those. So there's a need for us to get more to provide a little competition and drive down prices, hopefully, for some folks, which would be a good one. Additional storage as we continue to grow. Then, of course, the big one, we have the runway now. Now we need to work on cargo facilities to attract those in. So that's going to be a big focus on us is how do we facilitate that. And then with everything comes in more roads, more utility infrastructure, drainage, all that. And then a huge one is where I think our partnership will be key is the protection of the jet port environs and off-airport land use. And then just any additional issues, we run a survey that's going on. We'll talk about that in a minute. But any issues that come up from any pilots or tenants or businesses in the area that feel like they need something from us, this is where we would learn about that. Next slide. So an airport influence area, the FAA and the state of New Mexico, the aviation division, all provide a lot of recommended solutions to managing land use that's within the range of an airport. And they call this the airport influence area. This is where you're going to get the highest propensity of traffic. Because once you get away from the airport, people go up high, they get away and go do stuff. But this is the area where folks are taking off and landing. It's the lowest traffic, it's the noisiest, all that kind of stuff. And so it's a planning area where communities work together to consider overflight aircraft noise, safety zones, height restrictions, things such as that. Next slide. So what do they do? We're looking to protect livable communities. We coordinate the land use. It's, as we develop new neighborhoods and things like that, we want to protect the quality of life for the folks that live there. We want to preserve vital regional asset, which is if development, and it's more vertical development than it is ground development, but you have both of the issues. Vertical development, especially if it interferes with flight patterns or whatever, you can actually lose access to an airport if it's not managed. And the FAA we have systems in place to help us to where people have to go, get their developments that are within a certain range of an airport. They have to get approved or get inspected by the FAA before they can build towers and things like that. And then it supports smart, sustainable growth. Next slide. So this is the New Mexico Airport System Plan. We're going through it's the third iteration of that. It was done about 6 years ago as well, but we're in the process of doing, the state is updating ours for all airports in the state of New Mexico. And this is the airport influence area for ours, which includes, from the last master plan, it includes our future crosswind runway that we'll be working for. And so that is the area that is influenced. So if you're inside that blue line, you're going to see a higher propensity of aircraft than you would outside. The RPZ, which is the restricted zone, and that is the most controlled. It's kind of, you would say, if you were to find a significant area in an airport, it's what you would consider the highest risk, takeoff and landing areas. That's where pilots are at the most work, and that's the yellow. And it's always, the FAA is, they help fund and stuff. If airports don't own that property, they do everything they can to try to get that. And so that's ours currently, not the crosswind runway, because that's future stuff, but for our current runway, that's all located within our airfield boundaries at this time. And then the red areas are your approach surfaces. So that's where airplanes have left what you would call their cruising altitude, and they're coming down and they're starting on their final descent, making their way in for landing. And then the horizontal surfaces, this is one the state has not been a real successful between realtors and stuff to get deed notifications, but it is a huge important piece that the FAA recommends that, anyone that's within the airport influence area gets a disclosure notice that, hey, you can't see the airport that's up on top of the mesa, that it exists, right? So that folks are aware of what, where they're moving into. Next slide. So this is the planning process for our master plan. We just kicked off in the middle of November. And so we started out with the public involvement and outreach. So we started with our initial PAC meeting. We had that first one followed by an open house immediately after. And now we kind of work our way through the chapters as we go. So we're working through the inventory of the introduction chapter, which is our inventory of facilities and all that. We'll look at aviation demand forecasts. So how have we grown in the last 6 years? How many more aircraft are coming here? What types of needs do they have? Facility requirements for people being based here. For example, I have a waiting list for a hangar. I've got like 93 people, which will be a 4-year wait or more for someone to get a hangar to be out there. Then we'll work into development alternatives. So this is a thing that we may be like, hey, we have a crosswind landing problem, and then we start analyzing and looking at what are the different solutions. Yes, a crosswind runway is one solution. Are there any others? Are there any new developments or anything coming up that could help solve the problem? And then work on the later chapters. We'll work on the implementation, and then we'll get an airport layout plan. So the airport layout plan is extremely important to us. The FAA works on a 5-year planning cycle, 5 to 7 years. So if I don't have on my airport layout plan, if my vision is not in that 7 to 20-year range, well, I can't pop up and ask the FAA, hey, I need money to grow here. And they're like, yeah, our money's already designated out for the next 3 to 5 years. So that airport layout plan is huge for us for getting future funding for maintaining the runway, growing the runway, or repairs and things like that. Next slide. So the planning process, we talked about it's kind of a reiteration here, the PAC and the meetings and open houses. So there will be, I think there's one more open house that we'll have 4 PAC meetings. And in between, the PAC members are huge because it's just like the work that y'all do, they commit to us a lot because in between these meetings, they're reviewing the chapters as we send them out to find errors or to give ideas or whatever. And then it's really important for us to get the input. Outside of the PAC, we'll also be interviewing a lot of community members to make sure that we are planning and looking forward to what the needs are of the region. Next slide. Just a kind of a depiction of it. So the study design airport issues, we're doing that right now. We had the first PAC meeting. You see PAC meeting number 2 will be in March, and we'll work on the forecast and it's kind of a line diagram as we work through. We'll go back around. And then we'll make, there will be, I think, 2 presentations at the county meetings. So as we go through, they'll be publicized. So if anybody ever wants to see kind of the mid ones, they'll be available to watch at the county commissioner meetings. Next slide. So next is that community data collection. There's an online survey. We're keeping it open until Friday. So again, if there's anybody that, it's just question based, so go on there. If there's anything that you feel like you can provide, all input is important for us to see the different perspectives. There's gonna be a QR code here at the end if you want to do it, or you can go to our website, the Doñana County website, that Jeff, there's a link for it there. But they're working on the papers right now. We should have, hopefully towards the end of this month, I'll introduce chapters of the inventory stuff to start reviewing as we go through. And then our next PAC meeting will be March 24th. Next slide. That's it. There is a website. If you go back just one more, this will be available. But that email address, that BAC Jetport Master Plan, you can email that and all the information goes. We collect that. If you have questions, of course, my information is there if you need anything. And then the next one is the QR code for the survey. That's all. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate your time very much.
All right, so that concludes item number one on the presentations. We'll go over to item number 8. Approval of an ordinance approving the zone change for 1,202.28 plus or minus acres property within Doña County. As requested by the petitioner, the zoning request is for C2, RCPUD, and R2 located in Zone Park, Mexico, via WEN 25, WEN 26.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and welcome to the newly elected city officials. Tonight we'll be presenting case on the agenda number ZC-25-126.
Can we get your name and title?
My name is Hector Rangel. I'm the acting community development director. Ms. Mayor, the application, this is an application that was submitted with the package of an annexation. Since then, there was a request for time to be able to review the zoning. The meeting was postponed and for today, and we will be presenting some additional information that we felt it was relevant to some of the questions that we have to pose. So I hope it brings more clarity for this governing body and for some of the residents. Next slide, please. The application submission was originally submitted on October 17th of 2025. We had a meeting or meetings with the developer to ensure that the package was completed in accordance with the current land code and zoning requirements. Public notice letters were mailed out on or before October 21st, 2025. I do want to point out that the last time I agreed that it had been over 100 letters that were sent out. I do have the copy of the mail, certified mail receipts that it just points north of 350 letters that were mailed out. The letters, the envelopes were included the zoning as well as the annexation notification. This was in a buffer as per Title 10 and within the 200-foot area around the proposed annexation, as well as to the property owners, to the addresses that were listed at the time on the Doña County Assessor's Map. Staff recommends approval for this zone request by the property owner. This submission is not for the area, the entire area that was annexed. This is only for the land that the Collins Hagen group are presenting, which is just north of 1,200 acres. Next slide. This is the area that was annexed. The darker blue area is a 200-foot buffer that we were able to, that we are required to go around and notify people around that buffer area, as well as, again, the property owners. Next slide. This is a perspective view of the current land that is there. The area that is being proposed is it's at this time part of the old country club, as you all may be familiar with, and raw land that it surrounds that the current country club. Next slide. That's an aerial view of that area that we wanted for you to see. Next slide. This is the old country club area. This is what it looks like right now. This is This imagery was taken within the last 2 weeks, so it would be pretty accurate as the current condition. This area has, we will conclude this short video. It's the area that is being proposed to be rezoned. Very sure. This is one of the questions that we heard very clear is that what is it that this area was going to be zoned with? This is the north of 1,200 acres. If we can zoom in, I know I'm standing up and I can hardly see. So if we can zoom in a little bit more. This is the area, the plan and the desired zoning that is being proposed aligns with our current land use and our comprehensive master plan. And I would like to take a quick moment if we can bring those up, so maybe some folks in the back can see the areas that we're talking about. This area has multiple areas that range from commercial to RCPUD, which is a hybrid higher end residential development standards that are being proposed. And some commercial again, the reason we zone some areas commercial, especially around the areas where the old tennis courts and other country club facilities are, is because that would allow for recreational facilities to be placed there in the future in accordance to that. I have to finish the presentation and we will get back with you. Next slide. This is another area. If we can help them zoom in and spend a few minutes there, please. This provides you the acreage for the different type of housing. One of the things that it's important, as we saw in the video, there is a question about how much of the view would be obstructed. A lot of these houses will be on the lower part. As we all know, there's a higher part where this country club area is located and populated right now, which is the area in the middle, which is the Santa Teresa Unit 5 subdivision. Currently, what we're going to see on this area here, I'm going to show you what the current zoning is for the county and how is it that our current zoning, it is different, very different, and you will see here shortly. Next slide. This is the current zoning from Doña Ana County, meaning that if this had not been annexed and it was developed, the current zoning is as depicted in this map. This is coming from the Doña Ana County zoning parcel map. And you can see that is the DL2. C1 and MU. And I will show you the descriptions as per the county's website. Next slide. You will see it here. So C1 is commercial, as this is not a definition from city staff or anybody. This is coming verbatim from the Doña Ana County zoning map. C1, as we can see, it's for small local business like corner stores. That's one of the zonings that it's in what is being proposed here. That's what the current use is with Doña Ana County. And you would see our zoning difference. The other one is single family manufactured homes, another word for mobile homes, and duplexes in medium density areas. That is the majority of that parcel that is currently zoned there. MU, it's a zone that permits small scale commercial activities mixed with residential uses site-built structures. Commercial and residential uses are allowed within the same structure. It conserves traditional development patterns while allowing for infill and development of uses that are compatible in scale and density with existing development. RCPUD, like I said, it's a higher, it would be a development as we have seen. So there's nothing that you cannot compare. It would be like not some of the developments that have taken place, but this will be a replica, a follow-up of what Rancho Santa Teresa looks like. That is the first RCPUD development. Currently, the city of Sunland Park has approved 8 units. 4 have been constructed. And that's why I said that you will be able to see it. RC2 allows for open spaces, commercial facilities that have a different aesthetics requirements under our land code, which we feel exceeds the current C1 that it's being zoned. Most definitely, the RCPUD exceeds the current zoning that this parcels of land, the majority of this parcels of land. For those that are seeing it here in the front, the parcels of land that are DL2 are the ones in the yellow color, mustard color. Next slide. With that, we will stand before you for any questions. Thank you.
At this moment, I would entertain a motion to approve item number 8. Yeah, and I'm sorry, the first meeting guy.
Welcome to approve.
Yeah, I need a motion on the floor in order to open up discussion on the matter. So I have a motion on the floor made by Councilor Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Councilor Sunland. Discussion by the council? See them. Anybody's gonna speak on item number 8? You can just raise your right hand for me, please. Promise to tell the truth under penalty of perjury. Remind everyone speaking on item number 8, you are under oath. Perfect dates. What? Got a question, Mr.
No, I think I'm regurgitating credits right now. Mr. Rocket, can you pull up can we get the slide that the area is gonna be affected for this rezoning? I know that's a misinterpretation right now, with everybody thinking the whole thing's gonna get rezoned right now. I know for development pieces from the planning and zoning days, I think there's been some things that might have changed, some things that might have not. I don't think they reinvented the wheel during my time on P and Z, but what are the areas that are gonna be identified, if we can just break that one down?
Yes, if we can go to the blue map.
That's current existing.
Yes, this is what it's existing right now. This is what was annexed. This is the entire territory.
When was it annexed?
The area that you're gonna see on the next map is the area more, well, if we can look at this, so we can use it as a reference. The one that has that, light, gray in the middle, it's the, area of the Santa Teresa, area that I'm gonna show you in a minute. So if we can focus on that, then you will be able to, see more of that outline. Can I get can we get to the next slide, please? Or to the map that has the proposed on?
What streets were what?
That area, if we can zoom in. That area that I said that it was on the light gray is that area, right? The light gray area. This is the area that is being proposed at this time. It's not the entire site. That you would be correct, Mayor and Councilor Tejas. That would be an inaccurate statement that everything will be rezoned. So you are correct.
And the existing right now is what we have. Let me see. The existing county is gonna be Unit 5, correct? That's the existing communities in place?
Yes, sir. That's one of the communities in place.
Casas Bayas?
No, that's all of them.
Southern Moon?
That's what they're missing. Everything.
Okay.
But when did you annex? I thought that was. Yeah.
We can get to those questions. Let me entertain the question for the council first, and then we'll go to. We have a question?
And then moving forward, I know this is in phases, but moving forward, as far as what's in place right now by the county, that right now allows for mobile homes to be brought in, correct?
Can we move to the definitions of that zone, so that area? In the only area that we are bringing up to you tonight, we're discussing, that has 3 zonings, as you can see there. One more word, the definitions, please. That map was the one that we just passed, is the one from Douglas County that has those 3 zonings. That is what is currently zoned under the county.
So right now, if I was a developer and I'd say, I'm gonna go ahead and start developing this land, I could bring in a slew of mobile homes.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Diaz, you would be absolutely correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for the council? All right, seeing and hearing none. At this time, anybody from the public wants to speak to council on this matter?
This is Councilmember Jaramillo.
Councilor Jaramillo? Well, hold on,
Yes.
hold on. Let me get the councilor first and then. Councilor Jaramillo?
Yes, and it's basically around the same nature of the question of Councilor Reyes. So in other words, basically what we're doing, we're just if the developer would want to have developed in the county jurisdiction, basically the developer would have been able to put the development according to the definitions, the 3 definitions that were shown to us. So if I'm understanding correctly, basically what is happening is that we are only gonna uh, not exactly take that rezoning, but we're gonna zone it exactly. Well, not exactly, but it's similar to what where we had the options for, or the developer had the options within the county. Is that correct? So basically, it's because it's in a different jurisdiction within the city. We have to rezone it. So basically, the developer would have been able to develop the way the way according to the county's definitions. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor and Councilor Jaramillo, I just, as a point of, just for me understanding the question, so it's, our RCPUD zoning does not allow for manufactured homes, so I don't want to say that it would be the same. Our manufactured zoning is under an MR, zoning, but RCPUD does not allow for that, so it's not, it will not be the same. The commercial, our commercial zoning, the city of Sunland Park commercial zoning allows for commercial zoning that includes open spaces, recreational areas, and nothing industrial, nothing manufacturing, just nothing more than, I think it says here corner store in our zoning, that will have to go through a different process. So I just want to be clear that, I want to be sure that I'm clear that it's not the same, but it is the most comfortable, or what aligns with our comprehensive master plan and with our land code.
So in other words, it was already zoned when this land was in the jurisdiction of the county. It was already zoned anyways.
It was zoned. It is currently zoned. That's why the developer is asking to be rezoned. Because that zoning does not exist for us, number one. Being that it is at the time, territory of the city of Sunland Park, we will need to bring it to a current city of Sunland Park approved zoning. The zoning that as being proposed is an RCPUD and C2 in some of these areas with mixed residential, obviously. That it's allowed under the RCPUD. Was that the question?
Yes, and I understand completely. Thank you for that, Hector. One thing that I keeps on bringing coming to my head is the worry of some of the residents from Santa Teresa County that their homes were gonna devaluate because of the types of homes that were going to be built around their property, around their community. So I believe that we need to somehow protect them from their homes devaluating because of the different kinds of homes that are gonna be built around their community. Perhaps a buffer. I keep on hearing the nature of the natural resources, the desert around the zoning. Perhaps coming up with something that will allow for the beauty of the nature that's around them to stay in a way with a buffer or something similar to that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilor Jaramillo. Right now, what has been discussed here tonight is the zoning. It has not gone into, as if you notice, this is a master plan that is being proposed that, shows, but it is not the final print. It is not the layer. That, right now, what we're discussing is specifically the zoning, not the means of how this development is gonna be completed. But those discussions are further processes, as Mr. Diaz mentioned, Councilor Diaz mentioned. Those things are things that will need to be brought back, correct, to a preliminary plat, to a final plat for final approval. So this is specifically to zoning.
Okay,
Thank you.
just to be clear, to be clear, this has nothing to do with a preliminary plan at all. This is basically just a future plan that it's kind of, let's say, the gateway of how it might look in the future, but not precisely or not exactly what is how it's gonna be developed. So there's still space to work with a developer in ways where the community of Santa Teresa and the developer come maybe into some sort of, everybody is not happy completely, but at least in a way happy. So this will be just the zoning, not even a preliminary or anything similar to that, right? Just to be
Mr. Mayor,
clear.
Councilor Jaramillo, that is a correct statement.
Okay, yes, I understand. It's just that perhaps if somebody might be, this information might be useful to them. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And the reason we show, and we asked, and I thank you for bringing that up, Councilor Jaramillo. The reason we have this layout is because it brings a picture, helps and alleviates some of that stress. And we put that layout there as that was submitted by the applicant specifically so they can give you an idea. But this is not the final print. So thank you for making
Thank
that correction for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions by the council?
Mr. Mayor, one more follow-up, I mean. Mr. Ronkin, regarding the previous annexation that took place in regards to the developers that are present, where's their properties? Where these annexations, well, the rezoning is gonna be taking place.
Yes, the rezoning is, the only person that can zone land is the property owner. The only one that can request it. This governing body is the one that approves or denies it. The property owners are the ones that make the request. This is the land that they own. This is nobody else's land.
I know there was a couple questions by the public regarding when did this take place, when the annexations took place. Annexations took place in December, ladies and gentlemen. This The annexations took place in December 2025, but just to clarify that point right there.
So you voted before the public speaking,
No,
There was a public hearing for that.
and we were told that this was going to be postponed.
The zoning. This is the zoning. The first item was the annexation, the zoning is a separate item.
Would you mind asking the group how many of us did not vote?
Let me get council. But if there's anything else.
So on this one, just to add, communication is key. And this is why I want everybody to understand. Questions are gonna be dime a dozen. You're gonna have your time for public comments when it comes up. But just to clarify for everybody that wasn't in attendance in December, and again, I wasn't in the council during that time. I was a resident of Sunland Park at the time. So chiming in from afar, I got to hear the annexation go through. So the annexation it happened. There are gonna be some pushbacks. We'll really get into the weeds onto that one, but the annexation portion has been completed. That's one of the things I just want to make sure that the public understands and fully understands. Because the last thing we want to do is people walking out of here with the deer in the headlight or confused as to why this is addressing zoning versus annexation. The annexation piece that's a 2025 thing. There's potential pending litigation that's going on with that. But again, this is particular to zoning. That's why I want to make sure Mr. Rocket's doing his due diligence to articulate on the areas that are going to be affected, potential uses for those areas in general, and then to articulate on any areas belonging to developers. But again, as he mentioned, the owner, the developer of that land is petitioning for the rezoning for their particular part.
Any other questions on the council? All right, we're gonna go back to the public hearing portion. I know this is the same issue as the one in the previous meeting, so we're gonna go 3 minutes per speaker on the side.
Mr. Mayor, city councilors, my name is Chris Lyons. I'm the president of Santo Norte LLC, as well as Santa Teresa Land LLC. We own a significant amount of property that's adjacent to the area that is being talked about for proposed to be rezoned. And we do oppose it on many levels. First off, we were not notified, and this is consistent with several other of these meetings. And I think everyone has my email. I'm the largest landowner in the area. And we're not notified, even through the address at the county. So our attorney, Frank Herdman, who spoke at the last hearing, is going to walk you through some of the major grounds for denial of the proposed rezoning. But I just want to say before he gets on that if we're trying to build community, this is not the proper way to do it. A lot of the people here didn't even know they were annexed. So we have to do a much better job to involve the community, get them engaged over a period of time. What they're proposing to do here is typically, it was mentioned earlier on in the TID discussion, Santolina, Mesa del Sol, these are master plan communities in the northern part of the state. There's inches and inches of technical analysis done for these things when they're proposed, with lots of public input over a period of 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years. People are seeing these maps for the first time at an approval hearing, which is not the way to do it. The petitioners to do this should be the ones carrying the load on this, not pushing it on the city council, who's going to have to deal with the wreckage from all this. So I would strongly urge the council to engage the community, do this the right way, and have the people in the room their input to what's coming down the pike. So Frank, you can take over.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, excuse me, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. My name is Frank Herdman. I am the attorney for Paseo del Norte LLC and Santa Teresa Land LLC. Mr. Lyons handed out to you several written materials that I request to be made a part of the record. And they include, among other documents, a document entitled Objections of Paseo del Norte LLC and Santa Teresa Land LLC. I'm going to share my screen, and Mr. Mayor, I respect your indulgence to complete my presentation. I have a lot to say, and I think it's really important that the City Council hear what I have to say, because I think once I'm done with my presentation, you will agree that this application is fundamentally flawed in numerous respects and should not be granted. So with that, I'm going to share my screen, and I hope it works this time. Are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing a document that says City of Sunland Park, New Mexico, Notice of Intent to Adopt an Ordinance?
Yeah. Yes, we see it. It's
Oh,
tiny.
okay. Very
It's
good.
too
And
small.
what's that?
It's too small.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. And as I go through this presentation, if, as I go from document to document, if it's too small, if you can't read it, please shout out. I really want everybody to see and hear what I have to say. So the first thing I want to talk about is the history of this application, okay? And the public notice aspects that have gone with it and why those are fundamentally flawed, okay? We're going to start with this document. This document is a document required by New Mexico law under Section 3-17-3 of the New Mexico Annotated Statutes. This is the document under New Mexico law. The city clerk has to post notice of an intent to adopt an ordinance, and in this case, and in New Mexico law, she needs to do that 2 weeks in advance of the hearing. So as you know, this hearing was initially scheduled to be heard on December 16th, 2025. This is the notice that she posted saying, look, we might adopt an ordinance to rezone 1,200 acres, and the proposed rezoning, as I've highlighted, is for C2, RCPUD, and R2. And she confirmed that this notice was given pursuant to the statutory section that I cited. She also said, as is required by law, a copy of the ordinance is on file with her office. So when I got this, I went and got a copy of the ordinance, okay? And so this is the ordinance that she provided. This is an ordinance proposing to rezone 1,200 acres to C2, RCPUD, and R2, right? And this is the ordinance that was included in the packet materials that was provided to the City Council for the December 16th hearing. Right? So this ordinance is what the city clerk announced to the public was going to happen in response to this application. This ordinance proposed to rezone a total of 19 lots to RCPUD, C2, and R2. Okay? And then the ordinance, this is, if it had been adopted, it would have resulted in a zone change of 19 lots to RCPUD, C2, and R2. Okay. And here's the sign that was posted for the December 16th hearing. It says that the hearing involves a proposed rezoning of 1,202.28 acres of land to C2, RCPUD, and R2, right? So here's what you were presented with today. This is the ordinance that staff has presented to the city council today for if you adopt would result in the proposed rezoning. It's totally different. It proposes 14 lots to RC PUD and C2. The R2 is gone, right? And so here we have the proposed zone change for 14 lots, not the 19 in the prior ordinance, to RC, PUD, and C2. All right. Now let's look at the application that was submitted for this matter. Here's the application. It's proposing a rezoning to C2 RSPUD, presumably a typo, for 20 lots. 20 lots. Okay, so we have 19, then we have 14, and we have 20. So the materials that you were presented with today nobody has any idea what this application actually entails. It is impossible to ascertain what is actually being requested in response to this application. So here, I took the annexation map, and these are the various parcels over here in this chart here, okay, that were included in the purported annexation. It's got the parcel number, and it's got, the various owners, et cetera. And so what I've done is I took the ordinance that was proposed for adoption on December 16th, for which the notice was provided, and I made a little zoning map. Okay, so here's the zoning map that would have been that was proposed in December 16th, 2025. Okay, so then I took the ordinance that was being proposed to you today and did the same thing. It's totally different. We'll go back and forth quickly. Right? This is commercial today. It was RCPUD 3 weeks ago. This up here was proposed to be R2. Today it's supposed to be RCPUD. 3 weeks ago you had all these R2 lots down here. Today they're gone. Who knows what this application is about? Nobody. I don't know that the applicant actually knows what the application is about. So now let's look at the application's zoning map that it's submitted with the application. It's different than this. It's different than this. So now we have 3 alternatives that have been presented to the city council within the course of 3 weeks. So let's ask ourselves, do we know what this application is actually about? Do we know the lots that are proposed to be zoned? No. Do we know the zoning that's proposed? No, we don't. So here I took the chart from the map that I did for the zoning as it was proposed December 16th, right? We have a total of 19 lots. Down here, we have a total of 14. You can see the difference. The red is RCPUD, the yellow is commercial, the green is the residential. It's radically different. Not only that, but the lots proposed for rezoning only add up to 1,026.79 acres. The ordinance that you are presented with today is for a rezoning of 1,202.2 acres. This is a mess. And so it is unknown what
Now, if
is
you
actually
could-
being proposed.
I've been pretty generous, and I know, is any of these properties being zoned, you're the owner of it?
I beg your pardon, I'm sorry?
Sorry? Is the person you're representing, is any of the properties being rezoned, are you an owner of it?
No, my client owns property abutting the property, and as a consequence, he has standing under well-established New Mexico law to challenge this zoning.
I get it. But I also want to be fair to everybody else who also has land that's abutting to this to comment. So, I mean, I've been pretty generous with the time. We're gonna hit 10 minutes.
I appreciate it. I have other things to say, and I would really like to be able to, I would like to be able to, I will try to, I would like to be able to try to address my, complete my presentation. I'll be quick. Okay, so going on, this application is now governed by the newly adopted zoning code that was adopted last month, right? The newly adopted zoning code states that at such time as territory may be annexed to the city, it will continue to be zoned and subject to such land use restrictions as prior to such annexation, unless the area being zoned is amended in compliance with section 10-3-8. So we need to look at section 10-3-8 because that's presumably the section of the code that would govern this application. There's been no mention of that whatsoever. Section 3- there is no section 10-3-8 in the code, right? So the newly adopted code is missing the standards and criteria for rezoning. And any rezoning under New Mexico law needs to be accomplished in accordance with the applicable standards that are established in the code and by statute and New Mexico case law. The standards are not in your code. And so the definition of an arbitrary and capricious action under New Mexico law is an action taken without standards. Your code is flawed because it doesn't have the standards. This is the first application, to my knowledge, that's being reviewed under the new code. And I would submit that this application should be denied because the code is fundamentally flawed. Going on, in order to apply for an RCPUD, the code is very specific in terms of what is required. So a PUD, which stands for a Planned Residential Unit Development, is a very well-known type of zoning. It's a flexible zoning that requires the applicant to provide a very detailed plan of the intended development, and if that plan is approved, that plan contains the restrictions and standards used to measure all future development. So let's look at what your new code requires for purposes of an application for an RCPUD. It requires a master plan, right? Every application for an RCPUD must include a comprehensive master plan that addresses the following elements: a traffic impact analysis, a right-of-way acquisition forecast, a proactive development planning, and on and on and on. None of that material has been presented to you for your evaluation. The code says that the plans must demonstrate consistency with these standards. The plans must align with the city's long-term transportation and land use objectives. None of that has been presented to you. The application has to include a site plan, and the site plan shall show the proposed distribution of uses, building locations, traffic circulation and parking, landscaping and walls and fences and sign locations. And then it says right here, the site plan will set the development standards for development. That hasn't been provided to you this evening. This application is woefully incomplete, and there's just simply no basis on which it could conceivably be granted. The applicant has also not demonstrated that it's compliant with the district-specific standards. That your code says imposes a restriction that the requested average number of units shall not exceed 4 per gross acre, and it must be consistent with the master plan that's should have been presumably presented to you. You have none of this information in front of you that would allow you to evaluate whether this application remotely complies with your code and the standards contained in the code for an RCPUD. And then I would also add, and I think that this is a giant omission from your code, your new code does not contain any density restrictions for the residential districts, R1 and R2. And so if this is requesting R2, you can put unlimited number of dwelling units within an R1 and R2 zoning district. And it appears, I think the applicant is asking for R2. So that's also a fundamental flaw with the new code. So for all these reasons, this application must be denied. But I also think that it would be prudent to revisit and evaluate your new code for all of the emissions that I've identified, and there are presumably others, before another application, any application, is considered under it. And so for all of these reasons, on behalf of my clients, we request that this application be denied. I submit it has to be denied. And I stand for questions. I thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, hold on, let me get to the public comment. If there, anybody else wish to address the council? Anybody else wish to address the council? Yes. It would help me if you can start getting in line.
And
So like that, we can move that.
my pictures up.
I just think one of them, the first ones to.
Only the first one came through? Well, I did have pictures to show you, not just the aerial view, so you don't have a full picture of what we see. Anyway, I'm gonna start and we'll see if a picture comes up or not.
Can you lower the mic so we can hear? Thank you.
I'm Judy Adams, resident of Santa Teresa. And I do want to welcome the new members to the city council and hope and pray that you are here to actually, because you want to actually serve the people of our communities rather than a handful of out-of-state millionaires. I use the term our communities because Santa Teresa must also rely on you since Sunland Park has successfully blocked every attempt we've made to incorporate. Please always be aware of how your decisions will affect your neighbors, your constituents, and your community who are in residence today. Keep in mind that as you serve, you may be asked to vote on something that is not strictly legal or ethically appropriate. The public discussions of these issues, and by the way, we pretty much all did not understand that you have already annexed everything. This is out of the view from my back porch. And you see where the railing is? So you have annexed right up to my back door, within 5 feet of my back door. Thank you. Thank you. The public discussion on these issues began in December before some of you took office. The story began in the early 2000s when Greg Collins purchased a thriving country club with 2 golf courses designed by Lee Trevino and world-class tennis courts played on by Arthur Ashe and other acclaimed athletes. By 2013, Mr. Collins bankrupted the business, quit paying property taxes. In 2018, the county tax authorities sold the property at auction. Country club, golf course, tennis courts for $192,000, even though the outstanding tax bill was $418,000. The lucky buyer was Greg Collins' sister, Yvonne. Now Yvonne and associates are asking Sunland Park, I thought, to annex, but you already did that somehow. Rezone the property and allow a few thousand high-density houses to be built on the property. Legal? Maybe. Ethical? Not even close. All of us residents of the country club community bought homes here because of the peaceful scenic views. No, not mooses reported in media, but views. We had no fear of losing this because we were all assured that the zoning of this area would never allow such things to happen. There were more views, but this is what we see, not that aerial overview that you were shown. This is when we look out our back doors, sit on our back porches. This is what I'm crying for. This is what I'm begging to keep. Now imagine looking out and seeing nothing but high density housing. Oh, and a McDonald's, but still no supermarket or pharmacy, which we could actually use. Why was this annexation even requested? Why do these out-of-state owners want Sunland Park to be in charge of our future? Because Sunland Park has traditionally been on the side of developers rather than the residents already here. Sunland Park has a history of saying yes to adding thousands more to our water system to spread arsenic poisoning unchecked. Sunland Park is now in the process of adding illegal levels of toxins Indoor air of Project Jupiter. I know that's not what we're talking about, but it's really short.
30 seconds.
Project Jupiter, located across the street from our high school. Sunland Park is so excited at the project. They want us to pay for it with 165 billion with a B industrial revenue bonds and waive property taxes for 30 years. Sweet deal. And all of this is for a facility that before even breaking ground, wants a waiver to exceed legal greenhouse emissions for 20 years. Albuquerque and Las Cruces combined emit 6.7 million metric tons. This one project expects to emit more than 14 million tons annually, more than double everything in our two largest cities. So please tell me how this is good for anyone. Tell me how any of this
All right.
can be explained to my grandchildren why our local government is okay with poisoning, not just their water, but their air. And please tell me, do you represent the actual residents of our communities or non-resident millionaires? And I've submitted a list of questions to the city clerk.
My name is David Parsons. I live in Santa Teresa. I moved here under the verbal approval and the guarantee from Mr. Collins that Country Club would be there indefinitely. I moved there, I bought a house, I played golf, I spent money there, I supported the Country Club, and now it's dead. All the facilities around me, dead. The value of my house, dead. Everything has gone down, and now you're gonna have them come in with mobile homes in our area? Are you kidding me? How can you make money anywhere off a mobile home in an area like Santa Teresa? We were promised that we would have a country club forever. What are you gonna do about infrastructure for all these houses? It's just like she said, the water is terrible. The sewer, how are you gonna handle it? You don't have water. How are you gonna handle the roads in and out? You only have 2 roads right now, only 2. And you're gonna add all these houses? The traffic is unbelievable right now. The potholes are unbelievable. It's a disgrace to where, and I've been trying to sell my house. I can't. Because I can't get the value that it's worth. Everything you saw here tonight and what you've heard, it needs to be thrown out. Thank you. Order. Go ahead.
My name is Wilfredo Santiago Valiente. I live in Casas Bellas in Santa Teresa. I've been living here for 20 years, 25 years when I moved from New York City. I would like to, I wrote a history of the whole area. I would like it to give it to you for distribution. And another paper I wrote is 10 years ago. The Socorro group, that time in charge of Mr. Robert Foster and Douglas Schwartz, concerning the situation in this whole area. I oppose the changes to the zoning over here. Basically, because in this whole area, I mean, the southeastern region of the state of New Mexico is in complete disarray, political disarray, social disarray, economic disarray. As an example, the 5 homeowner association surrounding the club, the golf club, by reasons that I cannot fathom, were designated by the people, the planners in Doña Ana County as a non-incorporated territory of the county. I don't know whether you know that or not. What does that mean? That we are nobodies from nowhere. That means that I cannot be a member of your council, the council in the county, or any representative body within the county. We do not exist politically. That's ridiculous. That's a violation of our constitutional rights as American citizens. And I know what this incorporated territory means because I come from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is an unincorporated territory. I know the whole situation. So I feel that you are creating problems not only to the citizens of this whole area, but even to the developers. They don't know how to move. They are in the air, creating crazy ideas. So I suggest the following. I will, in our community, in Santa Teresa, in Casas Bellas, we are designating a new board of directors. That representatives from your council, 30 seconds, meet with a committee in Santa Teresa and the residents in that area to clear the issue of non-incorporation. I think we should be incorporated. We have a lot of brain power there to try to solve the situation in our whole area, not only here, in the whole area. You are doing damage, not only to the residents of Santa Teresa, but to the developers also. So they have no guide on how to proceed. This whole thing is crazy, completely crazy. Thank you so much.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Christine Reimers. I live on Feather Moon Drive. I have a number of questions for you. We have heard that people are concerned about their property values. Has a study been done on how the proposed dense new housing and commercial development will affect property values within the current community? If yes, why have we not seen this? If no, why has it not been done? I can only go on the map that has now been debunked, that we were sent or that I got from the city. So I can only go by that, but that map says that 2,664 new houses will be built and that 111 acres of townhouses, which by my calculation adds up to about 2332 townhouses on land. That makes almost 5,000, it's like 4,996 townhouses and houses combined. So with 5,000 new families, I'm not even talking about the multi-family residences because I have no way of calculating how many people will live there. So with more than 5,000 people coming, has there been not people, families, has there been a study of existing water resources and how at least 5,000 new families will affect availability and quality of water to be delivered? And in this study, has there been a study of Prua's capacity to deliver sufficient clean water to more than 5,000 families when it already struggles to do so now? If that study has been done, why have we not seen it? If no, why has this not been done? The developers stressed at the last meeting that the new housing is similar to what is in Santa Teresa now. In our neighborhood, everyone seems to have 3 to 5 cars in the garage and in driveways, partly because of multi-generational realities. Young adults cannot afford a house on their own. Let's be conservative and call this 3 cars per house instead of 5. At 3 cars per family, it's 15,000 cars that are coming into our neighborhood that are not here now. Now consider that each car has to carry people to and from work, go shopping for food and necessities, get kids from school or after school activities, soccer, music, Girl Scouts, whatever, attend recreational activities and visit friends and family. Being conservative will assume everyone is extremely efficient and drives only 2 or 3 times a day into and out of the community. That makes between 30,000 and 45,000 car trips into and out of the neighborhood that do not happen now. Question, has there been a study of the impact on the infrastructure and on current communities and sanitaries of the traffic created by all these new families and an as yet undetermined number and kind of commercial entities in Santa Teresa? If yes, why have we not seen this study? If no, why have you not done it before voting on this today? You need to do your due diligence on the impact of your decisions. We've heard testimony about the wildlife that lives in the desert on the current edges of our community. In addition to the coyotes and cougars mentioned last time, which I have also seen, I add the following, a partial list at best of what I have seen from my back patio. Ferruginous hawks, which are the biggest hawks in North America, red-tailed hawks, roadrunners, two kinds of lizards, kestrels, which are among our smallest hawks, jackrabbits, mule deer, thrashers, birdens, owls, flycatchers, several kinds of warblers, 3 kinds of woodpeckers, 3 kinds of doves, quail, bats, hummingbirds, ducks, and I'm only getting started. Question 6, 5, I think. Has there been an environmental impact study done to see what this development will do to existing wildlife? If yes, why have we not seen a study? If no, why has it not been done? My point is you have the legal and moral responsibility to understand the impact of what you are deciding. What is the impact you want to have? A few $1 million in the tax coffers of Sunland Park, or safe and sufficient water for your children, your neighbors' children and grandchildren? Quality of life in our community so people are not stuck in traffic spewing exhaust into the areas where children play. The privilege and opportunity to learn about biodiversity in our desert. My final question to you is, what do each of you, as councilors and mayor, want your legacy to you and your neighbors' children and grandchildren to be? I urge you to take the time to consider the consequences of your decisions. There is no hurry here. There is no legal mandate to hurry this decision. You have time for studies.
My name is Dan Brown. I am a local developer, home builder. I've been here for 33 years, probably a lot longer than a lot of you here. I have, also, and because of that age, I'm very familiar with the game of Monty, a shell game, misdirection. This has all been a shell game. Not putting the onus on you as a council, but on the developers that are trying to push this through. Money, influence goes a long way. I am a small developer, but I have built a lot of homes in the Santa Teresa and in the Sunland Park area for a long, long time. I have developed property. I am the developer that likes to see proper plan. We're a new council, and this, as it was stated earlier, is going way, way too fast. It takes time to sit down and visit with all agencies that would be responsible in helping to form a community. Back in the day, 13 years ago, I was instrumental on a lot of property in putting together a meeting with the MPO, with the fire department, Sunland Park's fire department, with the police department, with CRUA at the time, and a lot of other agencies that would have input. We had a traffic study that was done, that's been mentioned. We followed a lot of this list that was given by the attorney from Mr. Mines. It's important that you as a city council understand the proper procedures, all of them, in the development and in the planning. And this is a great opportunity, city council, and I say that very, very respectfully. A great opportunity for you to kind of, okay, let's put the brakes on this a little bit. This cannot happen in a matter of 3 or 4 months, but more like a year and a half. That takes time and a lot of input from our community. And as a developer, for me, that's very, very important. I was the previous owner, part of a group of the land. There was 730 acres that was annexed on this last go around, of which we also were not properly notified. There are much more than 350, I believe was stated, homeowners that are within a 200-foot radius of the proper notification. You got all las Casas Bellas, got all of the inside of the country club area, and there's a lot more than just the 350 homes. I think, please, listen to the comments that are being made tonight. Take a breath, slow it down, make sure that every developer or every project that comes online is properly done and that everyone is treated the same. Schools. I did not see any schools. They have to be drawn in. That was another part of the agencies that were brought in. I do know that there was an overlay of planning on the 730 acres of which was not petitioned in that last annexation of where, okay, we're gonna put schools here, we're gonna put park areas here, or drainage areas here. I didn't see any of those sites there. Take a breath, sit back, listen to your citizens here, and do it the right way. There is a right way. This is not the right way. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jose Flores. I'm a resident of Santa Teresa. And as an onlooker, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, both the council members and the citizens and the civilians here. And to me, it sounds like to me, this has just been a complete mess, like a clown show, because I chuckled a couple of times when the lawyer was literally bringing up actual facts about how everything needs to be done. As she presented, there was no impact study, no environmental things. And also the council said earlier, they want to be transparent, everything, clear line communication, but it sounds to me that in the past, none of that happened. So I can't trust you guys to do the right thing now because it seems like there's been a lot of missing information, a lot of misconstrued information, obfuscated by a lot of legal jargon. It sounds like to me like whoever did your guys' package or whoever did that thing might have used AI to build their entire thing, because if it hallucinates several things like 14, 19, 20, 14, 19, 20, it just doesn't work. So it seems to me like whoever was in charge of this dropped the ball hard, and now I'm probably gonna follow the docket of that case because now I want to see what exactly has gone wrong. So this could be publicly acknowledged, and everybody in Santa Teresa could be informed of how everything should be done. Because if that was the case, I should have gotten like reams and reams of information being sent to my house. If that was the case, just like anybody here does like a what's called a title. You see how big those packets are? They're really thick. And for all the studies, that should be at least like a mountain of paperwork that needs to be, reviewed. And obviously nobody wants to do the bureaucracy, the bureaucratic work for all that thing so that you can get the clear and the green light to do everything you guys did. And from other places that I've seen on the news, it usually takes about 6 to 10 years to actually do all of this rezoning and stuff like that because of all that bureaucratic nonsense. So as I'm looking at bystander and a active citizen, I would like to just see transparency. I like to be informed. I want to see websites with all of this stuff. Because everybody wants the federal government, state government to have everything transparent, and then here at the local, let's obfuscate this, let's obfuscate that. Let's not tell everybody the little secrets that we're hiding behind our closet, because lo and behold, what happens? We literally saw lawyers just go through, just at a glance, a complete mess. Anyway, sometime.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Raymond Brothers. I live in Santa Teresa. I live right on the ex-golf course area. I have a question, and I feel for Mr.
Yep. What were the questions?
It's from you or Mr. Higgins. I don't really know how this question's done. We have, living on the golf course, we have an easement on our land because it was a golf course before. So the easement is for carts to go part of our land. Of course, Navy told us there's never going to be a golf course there, ever. So we would like the easement removed from our land, because the easement says we cannot build a permanent structure on that piece of land. We'd like it removed. And so I'd like to build a wall right there. This is my land. I'd like to build a wall there. I can't build a permanent structure right now, but since the easement is there, but since you represent the Collins, I don't know who removes it. I don't know if the city council removes the easement or the landowners that had it before, but I'd like the easement to be removed. I mean, since it was for a golf course anyway, we're not gonna ever have a golf course. I'd like that removed. And second thing I'd like is when you do the planning, if there's egress besides Feather Moon Drive right there, that's the only way, when you live on that island part, that's the only way to get off into the city. Is that one road. So there has to be a second way out of there. And that road is full of potholes. We did fix a little bit this last time. It seems like it's at least drivable now. But those are just the questions. I mean, I agree with what these folks have already said. But these are just additional things that I saw.
Anybody else? Here?
Mayor, we have one in the library.
Okay. You can come up.
Where do I do it? Here?
Yeah.
Hi there. Can everybody hear me?
Go ahead, yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Beltran Corral. I'm sorry. Rosa Beltran Corral, and we are residents of Santa Teresa. Our property, I have 3 issues with this whole annexation, which, to be honest, I was here last meeting and we were not aware that the annexation had already taken place. But anyways, I have 3 issues with it. 1, my property is straight on Feather Moon Drive. We purchased this property when we were promised that the country club would always be a country club. And if it wasn't a country club, we would have a park. This is what I was told, and I have spoken with many of my neighbors, and this is what they were told as well. Now, with that, my property being on Feather Moon Drive, we do not have a patio. We purchased this property because we had a view of the golf course. We now have a view of the desert. I'm okay with that view, but now I might not going to have I don't have a patio. I will never have a patio. And now I will have a direct view to, I don't know, mobile homes, another house. This is a straight violation to what they sold us as community of a golf course. Now, the other thing that I have issue with, I'm also a mother. I have 3 kids. How are we going to go about the schools? As of right now, Santa Teresa Elementary is to the max. I have seen that you guys are looking to bring 5,000 more families. Wonderful. Where are we going to put all of these kids? Another one. What about the water? We don't even have water. A few weeks ago, we didn't even have water in our houses. We get slimy water. Nobody even tells us. All of a sudden, I have my children in the bathtub and the water is slimy. How are we going to have enough water for all of these families? 5,000 families? How? Thank you very much.
One more online.
All right. Whoever's online.
me?
Yes, I also want to mention, have any of you guys physically been there or been here to check out the land, not just by pictures of what's actually here in our area and what is being affected? When it's already so much traffic with all the new houses already built and there's still more coming. There's no reason for more housing on our side when you already have all that area that already have houses and some still sit empty. Like, why do you need more houses? For greed? You know, I also want to talk about our wildlife here. Like, how many wildlife are we going to lose? How many lives are we going to lose? You know, I used to feed all my quails back here, and there's been a reduction of that because of the new houses. It's sad to see not that much wildlife anymore compared to, you know, last year, 2 years ago. Why don't we just make this area a park with trails? People are already using it as is. People go and walk, people go and run with their dogs out there. You know, why can't we just make a park? You know, and I also want to mention that during annexation meeting, everybody was against it, and you guys still voted for it. Like, it's wrong. It's just greed. Like, there's no reason to be annexing or zoning this for development. Like, we should be building parks, not building more houses that cause, you know, more traffic, more more harm to our environment. You know, all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Right? That's it. All right. The public portion of this item is now closed. We can start. Now, I do want to clarify one thing, a couple things here. I know there was a comment that people here don't know they were annexed. I don't think anybody here has been annexed, other than, you know, I don't know are aware. I mean, I know there was a landowner that was part of the request.
Talking about the property around.
Right, but hold on. I'm gonna clarify. There's the idea that it's private property, is owned by an individual.
Yeah, but we left.
It was that. It was. There was two items on the agenda. One was the annexation. The next one was the zoning, and then the next one is the development agreement. Now, there's three separate issues. Remember, you guys came and spoke. You spoke in one, and then you spoke twice on the second one. So it was posted on the agenda, and the people who got annexed are the ones that submitted the petition, or the people that were included in that petition. But there's a misstatement that people here got annexed and they don't know they got annexed. I just want to correct that statement.
We thought our.
And then there's a comment that was made, and I'm gonna go back and forth with the staff on this one. There, legal counsel, for one of the landowners, presented that the zoning, or that everything for the land development code under Exhibit K or the RCPUD has to be submitted in the zoning. Now, my understanding is, if you don't have the zoning, you don't have to do any of those requirements. Now, if you have the zoning, because why are you going to pay for a traffic impact analysis, but you don't have the zoning under an RCPUD? So first you have to get the zoning, and then when you develop, then you have to pay to do all of those requirements under that requirement, under the, yeah, that's how zoning works. That's how zoning, you don't, if, let's say I have a commercial piece of, well, I have a residential piece of land. I'm not gonna pay, if I'm gonna put a new business, I wanna put a business in this piece of land, which fronts the McNutt Road. I'm not gonna pay for a traffic impact analysis if the city never grants me a commercial zoning on that, so I can build a commercial business. So the zoning has to come first before the development requirements finish. So I just want to clarify that, that's another thing that was pointed out. There was a reference that the city of Sunland Park put Project Jupiter. This is a county project. It's outside the city limits. We don't have legal jurisdiction over that. The county has full legal jurisdiction in that project. The county, we weren't part of the decision-making process of that particular project. Now, there was reference to mobile homes. The zoning that we proposed actually eliminates the county's allowance of mobile homes in that space. If the city is not proposing for mobile homes in that area, that's, I think, another misconception or thing that's being said, that it's incorrect. The city is not pushing for mobile homes in that area, or the developer is not pushing for mobile homes in that area. They're trying to get into a zoning that does not allow mobile homes in that area. The current zoning that's from the county does allow it. I want to clarify those things. There's a reference about not being able to participate in if residents in that area can participate in county government. My understanding is you can participate in county government. If you want to run for office in that space, you can run for office in that space. There's no limitation to that, but that's beyond, that's neither here nor there. No, but you can participate in the county government.
No.
Yes.
We can't have
Yeah.
our own city.
Well, we have, the city of Sunland Park also has its own rights. But we're not going to protect those rights. No. The public comment is complete. Schools, water, and schools and water issues, those are separate issue from what we being presented today. Today, we're looking at the zoning. What is the zoning? Schools and water, those can be future conversations, but that would be a conversation with the school district. And water, obviously, with the water utility. Right now, that would be CRUA, but that would be at a further conversation. For that, I'll defer to staff for any other questions that I did not get to address here.
Mr. Mayor, this is Frank Herdman again. I just wonder whether I could just add something very briefly. And it's an important clarification that the RCPUD is a zoning district. The applicant is requesting a rezoning to RCPUD. And the RCPUD zoning district requires all of those details because it's a customized zoning district where the applicant comes forward with all these details, and all of those details required by the code are embedded in the zoning. The section 10-4-3.8 is entitled RCPUD Residential Commercial Plan Unit Development, and it says the purpose of this zone is to provide for residential and commercial uses, etc. And then it says the establishment of this zone shall conform to the map amendment process, etc. The RCPUD is a zone, and they're asking for a rezoning. So the RCPUD and all those details is the rezoning. It doesn't come later. It's has to be a part of this process.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
And I gave my list of questions to the clerk who has to you to answer, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. To begin with, for the legal counsel for Paseo del Norte, normally when we have an attorney that is going to submit something, Madam Clerk, did we receive something from the attorney present here tonight as with his questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Typically, they have our correspondence. We never received these questions. They have the information for our legal attorney, and technically, and most of them, or more often than not, ethically, they will communicate between legal counsel to legal counsel. But this is not the first time that we get this information presented during the presentation, and it's not even apples to oranges. This fruit salad that you were presented here today shows codes that was approved after this application was submitted. And it's being presented here for you tonight as if this is the presiding document. I would like, with that statement, for our legal counsel to reach out, since we have public minutes or meeting minutes, and answer these questions directly to them. Because it is not accurate information. And I'm not an attorney, but I'm not going to come and present to you something that was code months ago and something that is present today and something that I'm doing this and we're doing that and an agenda that it's, I don't know if it's in order. I have not had to.
Excuse me, is he under oath?
Yeah, everyone. Yes, sir. I am. Everybody is. Thank you. That being said, that's why I'm coming here. I want to answer with that our legal counsel will respond to Paseo del Norte's attorney. I have presented to you with a list for those that you were not here, where the 300, well, this is not the 350, but where the list is where the notifications were certified mail. If they didn't receive a notice, we do have the proof that we mailed it out. That is our responsibility. That is a fact. Moving forward, like you mentioned, Mr. Manager, I'm sorry, the manager mentioned, and, mayor and city council. The other fact here is that a lot of, these residents are correct. And the fact that there's not a traffic study, there is not a plan development, that they believe that that this development is gonna use Feather Moon. Feather Moon is a very dilapidated, failing road. We know that. It is not a city road. The city does not have purview to fix it. As a matter of fact, we have a representative here from the county, your county commissioner. They don't have purview to fix that because it is a private road. That's a fact. This action that is being requested tonight is for zoning. Traffic studies, as the mayor explained, will be done. And Mr. Diaz and other members of you that are aware of this will be coming in when those preliminary plats will come in. The easement, it's a great request from the gentleman. That is something that can be presented there. But what we're hearing here tonight and the decision that is being requested is for rezoning by a property owner that has an investment in this land. The city of Sunland Park did not reach out and requested to for this applicant to be annexed or to rezone. We are responding to an application. The responsibility for this governing body is to make a decision on that application. The other items that were brought up in summary are very important, and they will come back and be presented to you when those with that process come into play. Thank you.
Order. Anything else that we're missing?
Mr. Mayor, just to be clear, the document that was cited was the new land development code, which was adopted on December 5th. My understanding from staff is that this application was accepted in October, the predates that. Also, there's a lot of comments made today, so I agree with staff. For example, a couple of mentions about federal action with NEPA. That is not applicable here. There's no federal action. There's no federal spending. Traffic impact studies under the code at the time of application receipt is section 11-5-1, preliminary plat, whereby the TIA is required. My experience working across 4 border states, in different areas, you don't expend technical dollars at a general plan level, and that's what we're talking about here. Thank you.
Any other questions by the council?
Mayor, reference the agenda packet that we were presented, and then the application that I'm seeing here that was submitted, and it's on Exhibit D. Is there a discrepancy on the parcels that are listed on there regards to the agenda packet that we were provided? And if so, what was the reason?
Mr. Mayor and Councilor Diaz, I have not seen that document as of today. What we have is what you received in your package, and that's what we submitted from the applicants. If you look at that, that packet comes from a firm that backs up the legality of that document. I do not know what you have. That's why I asked that our legal counsel will respond to this and analyze this. In the last few times that this has been presented in a similar fashion, we noticed discrepancies on agendas that were not accurate, not accurately presented. There were agendas that were from before, language that was from other things, and that's why I said it's not even apples to oranges. It's literally the whole fruit basket that is being mixed here. Based on what I heard, not knowing and not understanding what you have in front of you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and Councilor Diaz, a great question, by the way. I just want to reinforce to you that if there is a technicality, as Mr. Rafael pointed out, the action before you today to consider is based on the information that's provided, which is why you have public hearing. Again, the law is written so that the applicant can only rezone their property. An attorney, so if there's an area where, for some reason, there is a parcel of property that is not owned by a property owner that's in this package today, it's a technicality that will have to be corrected. Certainly bring it back. That's certainly a legal question we want to present to our attorney as well. Again, it is important to get, these notifications are sent out timely. It's important to get that feedback. There is a process in place. That process has been followed. And so it's impossible to say right at this moment which is the correct number of parcels, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mayor, and just to articulate on some of the points that were made, there's a lot of information flow. The main focus is going to be, and was initially started off to make sure that the information was understood by everybody. Information goes hand in hand with our optics. And there's been an uphill battle to make sure that the community trusts in Sunland Park and make sure that we do what's right. The optics, of course, is what's going to be presented to the general public, presented to the developers, things that are accessible either through an IPRA request on the city website or what have you, anything that's public that's easily accessible. And if we're presenting something on an agenda that's made public, but it doesn't match, and I don't think anybody goes around stealing, city seals. But from what I'm looking at right here, and from what the rest of the council members have seen, there's a discrepancy. We got to make sure we do our due diligence when it comes to making decisions like this. Last year, I did make a comment as far as not rushing this, ensuring that it's done correctly. And throughout the course of my time here in Sunland Park, you can attest to this, Mr. Rangel, I've always elaborated on making sure if we're going to grow, let's grow responsibly. Because I do want to see the city grow. And it's the same aspect for our residents that live in country club in the unincorporated areas. So, you're not forgotten. But at the same time, you have to see what it is. Everybody's always going to assume that piece where we don't want growth. The magic bullet on that one is always going to be not in my backyard. Growth is inevitable. Growth is going to happen. Populations are going to grow. But my only piece on that one is let's make sure we do it correctly. Make sure we incorporate the communities that are involved. Make sure we get all the developers on play. Bring all the key stakeholders to the table so everybody can understand this. Not to push an annexation. And beyond me, from the time that I started my campaign in September to the time that the annexation took place, it seemed rushed, and this is to the general public, but understanding processes for planning and zoning where we have to incorporate timelines. Once the applicant submits a timeline, the city's obligated to respond in a matter of 30 days. There is a time limit. So I understand that process right there. But little to me, it still seemed like a rush move. Not sure it was trying to be rushed before the existing council at the time was out of position. But at the same time, me coming on board, I can't say I fully agree with the process that took place. The one thing that I will ensure and we mandate is that moving forward, processes are streamlined. The community's input is taken into consideration. The developers that have those properties are submitting and guided correctly to make sure whatever they want annexed is done correctly. Whatever they want zoned is understood and done correctly. And then the collaboration with the county at the same time. We just can't go fist the cuffs with everybody all the time. We're going to be spending more of our taxpayer money into litigations, defending things. And at the same time, like I had mentioned during the December meeting, developers, they wouldn't be developers if they're not in the business of making money. Almost like saying I own a McDonald's and I have no expectations to sell anything. No cheeseburgers for anybody. And I'm fine with that. At the same time, we can't hold that. We can't hold the developers to, not knowing it's a business. It's a business in a way. But at the same time, the livelihood of the people that invested, that live here, that will be affected for generations to come, to include their families. We have to make sure that we do it correctly. Again, I'm not opposed. Developers, they've heard it. I am not opposed. When I spoke to them many a times during my planning and zoning days, I'm not opposed to growth, but let's do it correctly. Let's look at the dynamics of what Sunland Park looks like right now. A patchwork quilt community. Because for the longest time, and I'm not a Sunland Park resident, I'm a Texas boy. But coming on board, just taking a drive from Sunland Park all the way to Pito Michi, it's like a patchwork quilt community. Because there was a lot of investors that came in, a lot of developers that came in to try to make money, and they did. And moving forward, I think transparency, making sure we clean up the optics. And again, for my country club people, I understand, but you also have to understand, not in my backyard, it's not always gonna work. Progress is gonna have to move, but let's do it responsibly. Let's get your input on it. Because if we want to see things such as Walmart's, we want to see Kroger's, we want to see Albertsons come up. Nothing against the Dollar General, but we want to see progress. Real progress. If we're going to be considered one of those top tier municipalities here in this area, we're missing the mark right now. And all of our GRT is going over to El Paso. All of our GRT is going over to Las Cruces. Heck, some of them are traveling up to Juarez. We need to be competitive, but we need to clean up this image. The optics are, I'm telling you, from a council's perspective, even if I go unseat right now and go sit down there, what I'm seeing presented, as you mentioned, apples and oranges. If we're gonna sell oranges, let's sell oranges. Citrus for everybody. If we're gonna get into the apple business, nothing but apples. And it's hard apples. We don't want to provide them with, applesauce. Right now, we have to clean this up.
Yes, and Mr. Mayor and Councilor Diaz, as the manager mentioned, the only document that you will be voting tonight is what is being presented. That is the legal action that will be taking place. That is the application that we received. That is the application that has been submitted to you. We do not alter those drawings. I used the other to illustrate so I could that was one of the questions from last time, and illustrate what the zoning was. But we have not made any recommendations on the zoning. This is coming from the applicant. What we are presenting today here, what you will be taking in action, it's the legal document that will proceed. This information that you received, like I said, I have not seen it. And the screen, it looked different. The document that you have there is what that is on your agenda is what you're voting. And I believe that all of the land, because we did ask if any of the parcels that were included, whether it was a 19, the 14, the 12, the 20th, the 50th parcel, that if any of that land belonged to his client, and the answer was no. The land that it's being asked to be zoned is land that they own. Nobody else is under oath. That's what I can attest to, because that's what was submitted to us. That is the transparency that we pass. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Judge. And the reason I postured that question, communication, we gotta understand what's at hand. If we don't understand, anybody can come on board and present whatever it is they're gonna present. But we need to clearly understand what parcels are gonna be zoned. Annexation aside, that already happened. What comes next? I could only speculate in litigations, but we need to understand clearly what's in play. And if you can bring those maps up and just articulate once more for us.
Yes, can we go to the map where it has the parcel numbers? That is the legal description that was submitted by their engineer. It has a parcel ID map that is registered, that is actually provided and issued by Dominica County. One more? No, I'm sorry. First, that is a legal description. That is what you were presenting. That's what you're voting on. And as far as we know, in our due diligence by staff, those parcels that are identified there do belong to this ownership. It is approved.
But that should be shown. It's not being shown to people online. Thank you.
This is actually coming from the Doña County zoning.
Okay. You have questions, Councilman?
And just to, our city clerk, overseeing right there, those numbers, do those match up to this ordinance that we're about to vote on?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'm sorry to intercede, but that shows 19 parcels. The ordinance you've been presented with shows 14.
Hold on.
What's wrong?
You missed that. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
You have anything else?
No, I just wanted to verify, like, from this ordinance.
20
Yes,
parcels.
and as a point of correction, Mr. Mayor and City Council, this is the entire area that was annexed. The area that is being proposed is the parcels that are is the ones that I mentioned to you, the D, L2, the C1, and the NU. Those are the areas. But we wanted to illustrate with this for the zoning, the current zoning. The DL2 is what and thank you for clarifying that a few times, but that is the current Doña County zoning that allows for manufactured homes. The proposed zoning does not allow for manufactured homes.
Can you zoom in on that so we can help you?
Yes.
Now, I'm 2 minutes on legal counsel.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be very brief. I just want to emphasize that I understood the question was, what would you be voting on tonight? Mr. Rangel showed you that that was just on the screen. That identifies a total of 20 different discrete parcels. The ordinance that was presented to you for adoption this evening has 14. The ordinance that was presented to the City Council in December had 19. Right? There's no clarity as to what lots are actually being proposed for rezoning and what they're proposing to be rezoned. And without that information, this is a train wreck for everybody, including the applicant. If I was representing the applicant, I would be standing up and saying, please don't vote on this. It's too confused. We don't know what we're doing.
Madam Clerk,
That it?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Can we get the map that identifies the parcels that is in the actual package? The ones that every city councilman received. Can you just show the package that they received and go to those parcels so they can compare it?
So I know everyone's had an opportunity to speak, except for the petitioner.
Yes, sorry.
I would extend that opportunity. You know which one I'm talking about.
Mayor, council, thank you for the privilege. There's a lot of things being said here, but we petitioned for an annexation. That annexation came in October. The code did change later after that date. We petitioned simultaneously for zoning, which is authorized under the city code of Sunland Park to do concurrent annexation and zoning. So as far as the petition is concerned, we believe that we have complied with the code. Now, on the zoning application, which was presented here, it does show 20 parcels. And if you refer back to the annexation parcel map, every one of those parcels are owned by Messiah Olson or Yvonne Collins or Santa Teresa Country Club. And those are the only 20 parcels that are being impacted in this zoning. The same ones that are on this map that we're looking at that says these are the impacted parcel numbers as reported in Doñana County. So I can't speak for how the ordinance was written. We didn't have any say on that, but I can say that the zoning application for rezoning is correct as it relates to the parcel number, and they will tie back to the annexation map, which lists all the parcel numbers for identification of the ownership interest. We are asking for RCPD zoning because that is the closest classification to the current land use map, which is adopted by the city of Sunland Park, which says planned residential communities. And so the idea that we are operating under is to try to bring this map, bring these parcels in to the city of Sunland Park to define an opportunity to develop it at a later date. RCPUD, as counsel for one of the speakers has brought up, is very complex. It requires a special use permit to be submitted with the plats to show what you're doing so that the density and the traffic and these other elements that are very critical can be addressed on a particular plat with a particular density of lots and a particular set of amenities such as parks and open space and pondings and roads. There's also an opportunity, assuming we ever get to the next agreement, which is the development agreement, which specifically addresses items like Feather Moon Drive, items like Teresa Sale, which says if we develop any land that abuts that road, we fix that road. We bring it up to city standards. But we can't do it if we don't have zoning. We can't do it if we're not part of the city. We do it under the county. County can go take some for us. Or. So I guess my summation here is we've presented a map. There's one flaw that my engineer, he showed the area of density under the land use plan, which has the area that affects neighbors. And that's the map that's been referred to here several times. But it does not show the other parcels that are way down to the south that are also owned on the Sea of Bolsa that no one lives around. So we're interested in presenting a land use plan for the people who are going to be impacted as county residents, not as city residents, as county residents. We're trying to show what the city is doing or potentially can do next to their property. These parcels down here next to that state of New Mexico parcel, as we move to the south and pinch toward Mexico, those are not particularly important as far as any resident is concerned. So therefore, this map indeed did leak off a few of the parcels, and the council for one of the speakers did point out, wait a minute, there's a few parcels here, if I add those up, these aren't shown on that. Well, they are on the annexation petition, they are on the rezoning petition. They're just not shown on that, we use as a land use plan at this point in time. I hope that helps clarify a few of the points, but we believe that the code that was referenced by Mr. Lyons' attorney is not applicable, and that it needs to be addressed as under the code that existed on the day of the annexation. Dan, for any questions? Mr. Davis, do you have a question?
No, sir. The number they're on is the one that was presented to what's on the resolution. What's the plan on the agenda packet?
Councilor Davis, if I may. So Mayor and Council, it is important that in the whereas that the attorney pointed out on the discrepancy of 14 versus 20, if you look at the map, the zoning map of the county, that does show 20 parcels. So I would recommend that if the council, whatever action you take, right, needs to be taken on the correct number of parcels, and that would have to be read into the record. So if you just look at the whereas, and if you can go to that document, which looks like it's, page 82 of 147, if you can put that up on the screen. Mhm. If you can take a mental picture of these 20 parcels as we go to page 82. Sure.
The worst thing is having 15.
The whereas has 14 and is, the applicant just pointed out there should be 20. So if you, and we'll just read it out loud for the record, it is proposed that at the same time, the property is annexed. The property be rezoned as follows. The annexed kind of parcel ID numbers, and then it goes through the various Rs. If you add all the parcel ID numbers, you're gonna get a total of 14, but it's important simply because there is a specific number and ID of that parcel tied to that which will be rezoned to RCPUD. Followed by the specific parcel number that will be tied to C2. So that would have to be read into the record. And I would ask staff if we have those specific numbers, because those would have to be read clearly to clarify the question that Councilor Fay has brought up and some of the public has brought up as well as the attorney.
So would it be foolish to delay this just a little bit longer? Get that in written format and amend the package to include that?
I would defer to the applicant if they would be agreeable to that.
We would not take exception. We want this done correctly because obviously, some of the people involved here are very tied to their emotions or their property. And, it needs to be done correctly because you don't need to have some lawyer from Albuquerque who never submitted his papers tell you what to do.
So then are we amenable to that?
Absolutely, it's the applicant is amenable. We have no problem with that, Mr. Mayor.
So we have time to go over, and I recommend that if anybody else has any other questions, to submit them to the city clerk's office, so that these can be addressed when we bring this issue, well, I mean, if you want to submit something to the city council, submit it to the city clerk so that those can be, brought forward at the next presentation. Because again, we have to make a decision based on evidence that's submitted and evidence. The council has to make a decision based on that. Because this is a public judicial hearing. That's why we have to go through this entire process, the public hearing process. Because we're impeding on people's rights, property rights. Just as much as the owner of the land, of the person requesting it, and then the neighbors. And the council has the difficult decision of deciding what that final decision is going to be on what that's going to be zoned. It's gonna have to be zoned something.
Can we ask?
You can talk to them. We can talk, you can.
On the record.
Well, not right now. Not right now.
One question.
Not right now. Not right now. So I feel more comfortable if we get everything sorted out. Again, if there are other questions, legal challenges that people want to make, submit them in advance and not bring this at the last minute. Because then just add confusion, it adds more chaos to the process. And at one point, someone's not gonna be happy about it. We're not gonna please everybody. And there's a process for challenging the decision the council makes, whether it's yes or no. The landowners can challenge the council on the decision process. The neighbors can challenge the council on the decision process. So we're stuck in the middle here. But I think if we completely do our due diligence, make sure that the documentation is clear and identifiable, I think the city has a better standing on that process. With that being said, any councilors have any further discussion? I would entertain a motion. At this point, I would entertain a motion to postpone.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Jaramillo.
Hold on. Where's my? The thing is, we've been going at it for some time now. I know people are getting tired. We're sharing out.
Mayor, I'll call the question. I'll call the question. Yes, the motion to postpone to a later date.
Two different questions.
Mr. Mayor, before the postponement, I've been trying to speak, but many people are talking. May I please speak?
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor.
Okay, give me a second. I have a couple of notes here. So there was somebody mentioned communication, that the council is not to be trusted, but I just want to mention that there's 3 new council members that this is the first time they have ever been in a meeting other than another council member, but she didn't vote for this annexation. Okay, just to be clear, 2 council members are completely new. 2 persons mentioned mobile homes. It was already addressed. That was on the county's zoning. We are not proposing mobile homes. Slimy water. Santa Teresa, the country club, uses the tank, the water tank, as other parts of the city uses, which is Tierra Madre. And they mentioned slimy water. There has not been calls from other places that use the same water with the issue of slimy water. What happened with the issue about a year ago, when we had the crisis, the tank that was having the problem was the one is used by Santa Teresa, the north, the part of the city, not the county, not the country club, but Santa Teresa, which is part of Sunland Park. Somebody mentioned Jupiter, and that we are greedy. This has nothing to do with Jupiter. I personally do not. I'm not. I never. I even made my videos about that. We need more information on Jupiter. So personally, I'm not supporting it, and I don't want anybody putting words in my mouth. When I asked a couple of weeks ago to have this meeting postponed, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the last meeting, when it was moved to this date, I gave the time people to talk to me or to talk to council or to talk to the city manager. Only one person approached me personally. And my phone is public on the webpage and on the application Sunland Park Connect. So only one person approached me. From all the people that had the opportunity to talk to council within maybe 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the last time the meeting was, when we gave this time to them, only one person reached out to me. The quality of the water, it's public information, and it can be requested at CRUA or on the official pages, and it's public information. And the rolling quarters is gonna add to 4, and we're gonna be having a passing grade already because of the conditions that the water was having for 1 year. Also, just one last comment, that how many residents here are part of Sunland Park? I keep on hearing that we need to represent them. We do not represent the country club. We represent the county. But I know that one thing that we have done for the county is that we've been giving free services like PD. So we have been trying to be good neighbors with the country club. So just to be clear, that it is not because of greed or that we are working with developers and we don't care about the community. We do so much, as I said, that we have been giving out free services to country club without asking for anything for many years. That'll be all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I have a point of order. Mr. Tate?
Yes, sir.
What's the point of order?
Point of order, to make sure we stick to the annexation piece,
The zoning.
and reference the zone.
Mr. Jaramillo, we can restrict the comments to the
That'll
zoning.
be all. That'll be all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, sir. Councilor Davis?
Mayor, make a motion.
Now, you had mentioned all the questions are different. Motion to,
Corrections of the call, because I recall that.
so, I would like to entertain a motion to postpone. Now.
Second.
I need to get technical. We have an open meetings act resolution on item number 7 to change the meetings from Wednesdays to Tuesdays at 5:30. I don't know how the council's gonna go and whether they're gonna be in favor of that. So in the motion to postpone, if we can specify the date, time, and place so that there's continuation to that, if the council's gonna meet. If it's amenable to changing the meeting Tuesdays at 5:30, then let's say Tuesday, February 20th at 5, here at the council chambers at 5:30. But if not, we're looking at Wednesday, the 21st.
Mr. Mayor,
What's the timeline, Lawrence?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I would ask you to consider that the 20th is opening day of the state legislators. That's important. I would maybe suggest on the 19th, the day before, and I would also suggest that we take it to the multi-generational because we do have a large audience and we want to be able to accommodate them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So be advised, I'm not gonna be here.
City Manager, I'm sorry, the 19th is a holiday.
19th is on.
If you're thinking.
And everybody has open calendar.
I wonder what's free.
There you go.
How's March 7th gonna be the next, or March 3rd would be the next?
February.
No, actually, before.
Yeah, February.
3rd, March 17th, it'll be after, or go for a special.
February 3rd, work for me.
Or we could do a special.
We do a special between.
Well, the thing is, this is tied to an original notice. So I want to make sure that the continuation from that original notice, for posting purpose. So that's why I need a specific date, time, and place.
Okay, I want to make sure, Mr. Hagan, since there is a time restriction on it, if we postpone it to a special meeting that's amenable to everyone here today, maybe end of the month or first week of February, regular meeting, that's what you would like. That we take your comments into consideration.
So
Is that appropriate, Mr. Mayor?
well, I need a specific date, time, and place.
I would say let's do the first meeting in February.
So February 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Now, is the council amenable to the open meeting, that changing the open meeting back resolution to Tuesdays at 5:30? Okay. So at this moment, I would just, then, sorry, there's a lot of technicalities in all this things. At this moment, I was going to motion to postpone this item to to February 3rd, February 3rd, 2026 at 5:30 here at the council chambers.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilor Reyes to postpone
At
it
the multi-gen.
at the multi-gen center.
Yes, sir.
At the multi-gen center. They got date, time, and place, right?
Yes.
All right, the motion has been seconded by Councilor Buchecha. Motion, discussion on the matter to postpone. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Was that a,
Mr. Garavilla?
okay.
Yes.
Did I hear an,
Aye.
was that an aye or a nay on one?
No, that's an I. See.
So I have unanimously, motion carries. This item has been postponed to February 3rd, 2026 at the multi-gen center. All right,
Where's the multi-gen center?
that's the what's complex. Let's hope for you there. All right, from here, I'm gonna go on to the next item on the agenda, which is the,
Can you answer the questions from the last agenda before you go on?
I'm sorry,
Can you answer the questions submitted on that issue before you go on?
I'm on the next item at this point. We can get to those questions, but I'm on the next item at this point. The discussion is over. Discussion is over.
Traditionally, you always answer the questions at the end, before moving on to the next item.
There's still gonna be more discussion on this matter. So the motion to postpone is gonna close that conversation, then we're gonna move on to the next item. So we'll get to answers to your questions. Thanks. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right, I'll move on to the next item here. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda should be routine and will be enacted when motion with the council requesting item discussed and voted on separately. I'm gonna request items 7 to be removed and discussed separately. At this time, I'm going to motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion to. I have a motion on the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Councilor Salmon. The original motion was made by Councilor Davis. All those in, I don't know, that's. Let me have a roll call vote on the matter, please.
Councilor Armando Mata. Councilor Berta Salmon. Councilor Alberto Jaramillo. Councilor María Burciaga. Councilor Raúl Telles.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Everybody? Well, good. The motion carries unanimously. The consent agenda has been approved. Item number 7, is approval of the 2026 on Park Open Meetings Act, according to the New Mexico, with the state of New Mexico Open Meetings Act, and MSC 1978, Chapter 10, Article 15. On this one, there is no major change other than the date of the meeting. It's moving from the Wednesday to Tuesday, first and third Tuesday of the month at 5:30. The reason I wanted to make sure that everyone's on the same.
Mayor, are we gonna make that dates for January 6th or like January 7th? To ensure that we.
Oh, we could do it.
It's gonna be technicality.
It would be a technicality at this point, but I mean, if you want to do it formally, do it.
Let's do it.
There you go. You're gonna do it?
Let's do it.
Any objection to removing the January 6th, posting, on the open meeting act resolution? Hearing no objection, let the record show there is no objection, the January 6th posting, will be removed. And, that was listed. There's something else on the mission to them. Sorry, I forgot. Well. Oh, yeah, I looked at it today. You don't know, it's blank. Well, it is what it is. I have a motion on, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the January 6th date being removed.
I have a motion on the floor, by Councilor Davis, is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Councilor Sun. Any further discussion by the council? Seeing and hearing none, let me have a roll call vote on the matter, please.
Councilor Luis Sandoval. Councilor Armando Mata. Councilor Berta Salmon. Councilor Alberto Jaramillo.
Yes.
Councilor María Burciaga. Councilor Raúl Telles.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I remember what it was now, but yeah. Discussion's done. Item number 9 is contingent on item number 8, am I not mistaken?
That is correct.
So at this time, I would enter a motion to postpone item number 9 to, February 3rd, 2026, at the, multi-day center.
Motion to approve. Item number, to postpone item number 9 till February 3rd, 2026 at the multi-generating center at 5:30 p.m.
So I have a motion on the floor made by Councilor Davis to postpone item number 9. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Councilor Sunland. Discussion on postponement. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Abstention. Motion carries unanimously. Item 9 has been postponed. Item number 10, approval of a resolution to approve a budget adjustment for FY 25-26 for a new fire department position due to AMR agreement termination.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion on the floor made by, Councilor Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been seconded by Councilor Burciaga. The discussion on this matter by the council? Seeing and hearing none, let me have a roll call vote on the matter, please. You got it easy, chief. Gotta be easy. I'll have an audience.
Councilor Luis Sandoval. Councilor, I'm sorry, Armando Mata. Councilor Berta Salmon. Councilor María Burciaga.
Councilor Alberto Jaramillo,
Yes.
Councilor, Raúl Tellez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 10 has been approved. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm gonna stand up just to stretch my legs a little bit. Thank you, thank you. While we're bringing the presentation up, I want to welcome the new council. I'll tell you, it's rough because today started 2026. It's a little unusual. We started at 4 and we had a meeting at 5. And then we have this just really, it's a tough situation that you're in. And so I commend you. Anyone could be elected and be sitting in your seat and would have to consider such tough topics. Not an easy task. Let's just go ahead and run through the city manager's report. I'll go ahead and email you this. You don't need to really take any notes. And I generally do. I just don't send it to you in advance intentionally because I know what happens, right? You look at it real quick and then you will pay attention. All right, next slide. All right, just want to give you a quick update on where we are with animal control and codes. Next, just wanted to let you know that this is an area, and you heard some comments earlier that really needs some revisiting and some new reframing of the structure processes in order to provide better structure. We did bring an item before council last month to conduct a full assessment. We are revisiting that and we'll be presenting it to the council. I put together just a very simple flow chart of some of the items that were presented next month. And I'm looking to start some of the work internally and hopefully bring an outside consultant that can help us work through the process. But we're, as you see there in the presentation, we're in need to do a full reset with codes and ACO. And the challenge that we have is City of Sunland Park is approximately just shy of 21 square miles today. With the 2,600 acres that got added, we have another 4.5 acres. On the plus side of that, about out of the 24 square miles of city limits, really less than 19 of those are truly developed at the moment. But we do face issues with illegal dumping, animal control, and so we're looking at restructuring, cross-training, adding processes and technology in place, as well as adding more staff augmentation so that we can provide better service. And so I wanted to just give you a heads up that this is a strong push for this first quarter of 2026 and more information will be coming forward. And we wanted to put it out to the public as we welcome their comments on Sunland Park Connect. We'd be happy to get some feedback on what's important to them. Next. Just for some of you that are new, you may or may not know, the City of Sunland Park has a parcel of property next to the college. So it's right between the DACC and the post office where the guitar building is. That parcel of property was master planned about a year and a half ago. The first project was the major rehabilitation of the guitar building, which is now serving as our MVD. It expanded, added capacity, added more staff. We're also able now to accommodate CDL drivers for inspections and licensing. We do have a couple of facilities under construction. The Creel building is well underway. If you drive out there, you'll start seeing that all the vertical is complete, plumbing is complete. We're starting to enclose the facility, roof structures in place. And so it looks like we're ahead of schedule for that project. Originally scheduled to be done in October. That appears to be ahead about 2 months on that. And so you also see that the Casa Peregrinos construction has started. Nation is underway, and so you see a lot of the building that's going in. And then lastly, I just wanted to point out that as part of this redevelopment and smart land use, we are rerouting the stormwater and recapturing acreage in that area in order to allow for future expansion just north of 25,000 square feet. That's identified by those 3 buildings down to the bottom of your screen. Next. Just wanted to give you a couple of construction photos. These were taken last week on Casa Peregrinos. There is a commitment to get this facility opened up by November. That's our target date. I know the governor was key to funding this facility, and so we want to make sure that we honor and support that in recognition of her financial support. Next. And then lastly, retail strategies, just wanted to give you an update on that. We've have a number as municipalities, as they naturally evolve and grow, we start to increase the number of rooftops first in residential. And so then it's natural in the growth environment for retail and commercial to follow. And so we are now launching a full assessment that will lead into really developing a market guide for targeting strategies at a national level. We'll be working as part of the process with key stakeholders, which will include developers, business owners, and such. We'll be having a site visit next month with the team that's conducting the analysis. And then they'll be put together a recruitment plan sometime in the first quarter of this year. That will then be followed by national conferences, and they'll be here to present second quarter of this year when the information is done, so that you have an opportunity to meet the team that's conducting the work, ask questions, share what you're hearing from the community and what is important to you, right? I heard today grocery store, right? So that's going to be one of those areas. So you're going to learn a lot about leakage, needs, and those sort of things. Next. Just wanted to show you some of the deliverables that will come out of retail strategies. Really, is put together a marketing guide that can be showcased at a national level to attract these types of retail commercial tenants. Next. And then finally, last one, and then we'll all be done. Go to the next one. Just wanted to give you a quick update. This is so some of you have seen this. For those of you who have not, this is the master plan for the multi-generational facility. You'll notice to the left in the lower left-hand corner, that is Santa Teresa Middle School. You'll notice that we have 2 baseball fields encroaching. Those are encroaching on the school district. So this is important because, let's go to the next slide. We have submitted a proposed blanket drainage easement to the school district. We made a presentation last year to the school board, and they have been amenable. I just put in communication this week with GISD. They also have a couple of new members that are coming on board, and they've seen the draft presentation of the MOU. And this is the initial draft of the drainage easement. And the idea is to be able to work with them to essentially utilize their space for future development of those baseball fields. Work at a more regional level, collaborative level for flood control in exchange for some mutual beneficial use in this area. So wanted to give you a heads up because in the future, you're going to have that MOU come before you for consideration and approval. I would encourage you, if you have questions, get with me. Be happy to sit down with you and discuss it in more detail. But certainly, as school board representative to them, it doesn't make sense for the school districts to have baseball fields to have maintain and its municipalities to have facilities that work together. Let's minimize the overall cost for long-term maintenance and operation. And let's get these projects built for the community. So with that, I'm going to conclude. Unless you have any questions, again, I'm going to email you this. So, and I'll do that every council meeting.
Any questions by council?
That was good.
I was gonna say, when we have the county here, they just passed a goal bond. Maybe they can throw some money and add them to the MOU, but.
We can certainly do that. All
right. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, councilors, for your time this evening. I know it was pretty late for your first meeting. Welcome back, councilor. I know you missed all of this. But I know it can be difficult at times. There's a lot of good things you hear. I do want to say for the record though, that we did have a closed session in my office at 4 o'clock. And only those items on the agenda were discussed and no decision was made in closed session. I remind everyone the session starts on the 20th. I'm heading out there starting the 19th. I'm meeting with the municipal league, and then we're going up to the opening session for the state address. And then there's the Florida Days in Santa Fe, and then there's also the Mesilla Valley Days in Santa Fe. So it's a lot of days. The municipal day is February 3rd and 4th, if I'm not mistaken. That's another event where all the municipalities go up and we go over legislation about what's happening in Santa Fe. So the things to go to, and then if we can send to the new counselors the invitation for Grapevine, Texas. I think it was Grapevine, Texas.
It is.
There's this location that has, it has a community center, obviously we don't have the money that they have, but a community center, a new public safety building, senior center, they put in a hotel in the space, an indoor water park. And I want you guys to take a tour of all those facilities so that we can get ideas of what we, as we make investments into the our sports complex, what we can do as well in our sports complex and other things to attract tourism to our community. If you're interested in going, make sure you get in contact with the city clerk because there is a registration, but registration is free. And it's a 2-day event where they're showing you different things about programming and stuff like that that they can show you. I also want to let everyone know the National League of Cities is having their conference in March. Now we talk about having to go to Santa Fe. Well, same thing in Washington, D.C. But the meeting in March, we focus on talking about federal issues affecting municipalities. And then we also go visit our delegation up there. So if you want to go to that, let the city clerk know. We do have a membership to the National League of Cities. And it's that one is I'm going from the 13th to the 19th, but that's because I'm involved in a couple other boards up there with them. But I think it starts on the 15th to the 19th. 15th to the 18th, so they get there.
16th to the 18th.
But there's also training before. If you want to do that, there's a training that you can take before, and then the boards and stuff meet the day before that. So, cool. But those are things that's what helped me learn a little bit more about what this job really takes, and that we benefit from it. You get to see a lot of individuals that have gone through the same problems that we're going through. You get to meet a lot of people with different ideas, and it's a great opportunity to let the city clerk know about this. With that, it's already 9:11 p.m. If there's no objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Everyone.